So, you always have to go back to your fundamentals, right? How does something as an output become standardized? But whereas Shark Tank India comes with a lot of credibility because there's nothing scripted. And we've been very lucky and fortunate to have those kind of investors where they have become an asset to us because they have helped us navigate this journey because they have seen many other consumer brands grow. It enabled us to get much faster trial and much faster growth. The single brand that comes to your mind when you think of anything chatpata and anything sweet, which is available on the cash counter, which is available in Pulse. So whether it is a barfi or a laddu or whether it is a lollipop, chatpata lollipop, Go Deshi should be the number one brand.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the latest episode of IRE Talks Podcast powered by GIBS Business School. But wait, today something's different, right? Yes folks, we are breaking the mold today and today we are here at the corporate office of GO DESi Foods featured on Shark Tank India Season 2. I'm Palak Bansal, your host, and today with us we have the man himself, a person who aligned tradition with innovation and has brought to us GO DESi Foods, Mr. Vinay Kothari. Thank you so much, Vinay, for accepting our invite and hosting us here on your premises today.
Pleasure to be a part of this. Thank you.
So, I'm pretty sure our viewers here, today who will be watching the episode, they have seen your simple, elegant and that impactful pitch on Shark Tank India about GO DESi Foods. But they would like to know a little more about you. So, before GO DESi Foods, can you share some insights in your journey of how you ventured into entrepreneurship? What was your life like before that?
Sure. I think before Go Desi, I mean, like a typical middle income household kid, I did my MBA. I did my commerce, and then I did my MBA from Pune. And from there, I joined ITC. I was fortunate to be part of their management training program, and I was involved in many divisions of ITC, right from agribusiness division to foods division to sales and distribution, etc. So I basically whatever I learned in FMCG was at ITC. So I learned a lot about sales and distribution. I learned about rural distribution. I learned a little bit about branding. I was involved in multiple launches of products like Sunfeast Dark Fantasy, Sunfeast. Yum Fills, which is their soft cake, and even the chocolates, which is now known as Fabel. So had a very interesting career there, spent almost close to 8 years, and after that I quit and I joined a startup, worked there for close to 9-10 months, and then Go Desi happened. Go Desi was more by chance than by design, and I mean, so that was my journey before Go Desi.
So how did this idea come to you that, Go Desi, when we hear the name itself, it gives out the entire meaning of what it stands for.
Right.
And the recipes that we are following, they're very traditional, they're very homely recipes.
Right.
So how did that idea happen to you that something like this can be commercialized into such a huge business?
Yeah, so as I said, Go Desi, it was not like a thought through 5-year or 10-year business plan that I thought that, okay, we'll make Go Desi this big, or there was no essential thought there. How it happened was that I was on a hike, basically a trek in Western Ghats, and that's where I saw these yummy jackfruit bars which were being sold by a small chai shop after a hike, and I was very hungry, so I bought that. And I asked this guy who was making these, and this guy was like, this is made by a small self-help group which was just maybe 3 kilometers from there. So I was not doing anything at that point of time, and I thought that I was still figuring out my next project. So I said, okay, might as well work with these self-help group and see what I can do with them. And I bought around 30 kilos of their stocks of different products, including Desi Pops. And then we set it up in a flea market and got my mom and dad to be cashiers and marketers, and my sister, who's also the co-founder. And then we booked the entire stall for 3 days, and we got sold out in first half a day. And that's where the realization came that, Indian regional products, there are no large brands created in that. If you see, most of the brands have been created in Western confectionery or Western brand or in packaged foods which are bought by MNCs, and they had to create brands because they had to change our consumer behavior. So if we had to change a consumer behavior, we were not biscuit eating, noodle eating, sauce eating Indians, right? But if you want them to change, you have to create a brand, you have to create an aspiration to consume that, and that's what large MNCs from outside India were able to successfully do that. But in that midst, these local products that we used to consistently have were still dominated by regional players and local players, and they never upgraded. They were still getting sold in plastic pouches. not sure whether this chikki will taste exactly the another chikki that you will have. So that's where the realization happened that, if you can create a brand and give the same kind of consumer experience and a brand experience that a MNC brand can give, or that a very large multinational brand can give, then we can create a large business out of it. So that was the start of GO DESi.
So now, what was that defining moment? There would have been a lot of challenges, I'm sure, when you started off. But there's always that one highlighting moment where that yes, GO DESi has taken off. Now this is where we have reached what we have dreamt of. So what was that defining moment for you?
There was no defining moment as such. For us, it was a very iterative journey. If I would say that, okay, at that point of time, we felt that we have made it. We've still not made it. We are still a very small brand, and we're still trying to grow at a fast pace. And but one thing which was very clear is that the product that we were selling was getting a lot of customer love. Wherever we were putting it, whether it was on Amazon, whether it was on Zepto, whether it was on Blinkit, everywhere, wherever we put our products, we got a lot of repeats and we got a lot of customer love. And that kind of kept us going that, we have something on our hands. We can create something big out of it, because eventually all large brands and all big brands are on the core of it is a great product which satisfies a very core customer need and a lot of customer love. So that's what we felt with our Desi Pops, that we've got a great product, and I think that would have been the
I think I can personally say that I'm a repeated customer, so is my team member.
Right.
So when we got this opportunity to interact with you personally and ask you the backstory of the entire Shark India tank and that business, how it developed,
Sure.
how it grew, we all were really excited. So I'm pretty sure even for you, when you decided that let's take it to Shark Tank India, and this is where we will feature our company and our initiative on this platform. How was that experience for you?
So I think Shark Tank was a great experience for us, primarily because for a brand like of our size and a young startup, you don't have that kind of monetary resources to be able to go to consumers and showcase your brand.
Correct.
And Shark Tank becomes that platform which shows your product to millions of customers. You get almost 10 to 15 minutes of uninterrupted national television time, which if you just put basic monetary terms on it, would be worth 2 to 3 crores.
Yes,
Right?
correct.
And the best part about Shark Tank is that it is not like, for example, a commercial, somebody is paid for it, right? So consumers look at a commercial from that skeptical lens that, okay, somebody is telling me a great things about my product because they are paid to do the show.
Correct.
Right? But whereas Shark Tank India comes with a lot of credibility because there's nothing scripted. There's nothing which is not a fair, frank, direct opinion of either the sharks or the customers on what the product is. So the credibility and the reach is extremely, extremely beneficial, was extremely beneficial for us as a brand, and is becoming, if you see the season 3 as well as season 1, it's one of the key things that brands go for, because they get credibility as well as a lot of media exposure.
So again, that pitch of yours, which was amazing, it had that simplicity to it, it had that elegance to it, and yet it was impactful. The message was loud and clear that I want to take my regional concept, innovate it to a global level.
Sure.
So it was like global desi, is what we knew it as. So what was your thought process when you were pitching for it? Like, what things did you highlight upon, or did you how much work did go behind the scene before you were ready for the stage presence?
I think the entire Sony team works quite a bit before you go on stage. So they help you prepare the pitch and etc. So there's a lot of work which goes on to make you media presentable.
Okay.
However, since we've been doing this business for 4 years, we've interacted with multiple investors. We know what our business stands for. We know what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are. And I think for us, it was just to be as honest and as truthful as possible on a platform. And I think that came across in our pitch. We didn't want to try and gloss over anything. Whatever was true, it was true. And whatever was not true, was not true. So I think that's what helped.
And there were two things which you mentioned in your pitch itself.
Yeah.
That you have around 25,000 women, 2,500, 250, 250 women, yes, 250 women.
Soon to be 25,000.
Oh, yes, definitely. So 250 women working in two of your units, and
Yeah.
there's almost 3 lakh volume of Desi Pops that are manufactured in these units. So
Daily.
Daily, yes,
Yeah.
daily. So when it comes to standardization, or I think you did mention that it's not an automated process as well.
Right.
So how do you ensure that the quality, the taste, and everything that's standardized, or it remains constant throughout all these 3 lakh pops daily basis?
So the credit to it it actually goes to our entire backend team, and they have, whether it's Raksha, Radha, and Tejas, and all of these guys who basically manage our entire backend. They are the ones who have been able to standardize over a 5-year period. So you always have to go back to your fundamentals, right? How does something as an output become standardized? Now, output gets standardized only if your inputs are standardized. If your inputs are standardized and if your process is standardized, then everything else gets standardized.
Yes.
So we went back to that stage. Okay, what are the inputs? So we have to standardize the raw material. So we standardize the tamarind, we standardize the jaggery, we standardize the process. How much time should it mix? How it needs to be stuck onto the stick? What packaging needs to go on it? What should be measured after the packaging has happened so that the customer gets the taste? So if you are able to set your process right, which is the inputs and the process, then output kind of takes care of itself. A lot of people eventually end up focusing on output metrics, such as iska weight kya tha, and how did it taste, etc. But if the back end is not standardized, you will always get variability on the output. So that's what we did.
And what was the reason? Like, did you have a particular reason for employing women only in these manufacturing units, or was it just a part of your initiative?
We wanted to walk the talk, right? For example, we say that our products are authentic, they are really desi, and so we wanted that to be made in the same manner or as similar as a manner that as a household would do in the past, right?
Perfect.
And there, the kind of skills which are required, women are naturally much better suited at doing those things, right from hygiene to standardization and process. And even quality. I've seen women are way ahead of men in terms of in these specific tasks. So it was a very logical choice for us to use women.
That's great to know, because I think somewhere down the line when we talk about scaling these regional initiatives or products, artisans based, or as you said, cottage industries, somewhere down the line this thought process of employing women, it goes a long way. We might not see it immediately, but definitely it does. Now, moving towards, one thing which when my team was researching about Go DESi, so we did go through the entire episode of yours, and you mentioned that more than 50% of the company shares at that time were held by the investors.
Yeah.
So, what was, what was the, why would that be an idea? Do you think that somewhere challenged the way that you have a control over your business, or what were the repercussions or challenges or advantages that it came with?
So it takes a village to raise a child, right? I mean, there's a popular saying, it takes a village. And when you're building a consumer brand, and when you have ambitions of building a very large consumer brand, then you need a lot of resources. And those resources, we did not have them personally. And therefore, we've looked for investors who were like-minded and who knew what we were building, who were in it for the long run, who understood how consumer businesses and consumer brands are built. And we've been very lucky and fortunate to have those kind of investors, where they have become an asset to us because they have helped us navigate this journey, because they have seen many other consumer brands grow. So for us, eventually the idea was to make the pie bigger, right? I could have 100% of a 5 lakh rupee business, and at the same time I could have a 30% of a 5,000 crore business. Which one would you prefer? So
correct.
So a larger business is what we went for, and that creates a larger impact on the ecosystem. It creates a larger impact on our team members, and it enables us to create something which will stand the test of time.
And also, what was the team's reaction, when they got to know that the company is being featured on Shark Tank India? So how was the atmosphere here in the office?
They were super excited. I mean, they were happy that we got noticed, and a lot of our team members used to tell their home, tell their parents that we work for Go Desi, and maybe they would not know what Go Desi is. They know about the products, obviously, but when they came on Shark Tank India, some of them felt that they are doing a legitimate job, and the company is going to continue to. So it was really. It helps to add credibility to what you're building. So that's what I said. Shark Tank added that, and our team was super excited to see our products that they have worked on, packaging that they have worked on, really being appreciated by the sharks, and so they were super excited and motivated.
There was this one moment wherein one of the sharks, they said they've already been a consumer of the brand.
Yeah.
So listening to that, on the stage in front of so many people, what feeling did that bring to you?
It was, we were proud of the fact that people have consumed us, and today, as I mentioned, more than 1 crore pops get manufactured on a monthly basis. So we have a huge customer base. So we were super happy that people have consumed us and they like what we make and that's essentially what the objective of building a consumer brand is, that people consume you and like you and love you.
That's true. And, when most of the business were hit by COVID a couple years back, so what I would like to know from you, since, we are talking about the consumer brands, and that was the industry that was, I think, the most impacted.
Right.
So did that hit the business, or, how did you tackle that?
Actually, we had a positive impact because of COVID, because what
Wow.
happened is a lot of consumers went online, and online kind of makes the playing field very, very common for all brands, right? If you are trying to compete with Parle, which has say more than 2 million outlets where they are available in, but if you look at Amazon, Parle also has Amazon and we also have Amazon, or we have also a website and Parle would also have a website. So it's a much more playing field. And when consumers went online, they were able to discover our brand much faster. And it enabled us to get much faster trial and much faster growth if we would have tried to do offline, if we would have tried to build the way we were building. So in a way, it helped us, Go Desi get discovered by many more consumers.
Wow, so it was a boon in disguise for Go Desi.
Yes.
Very nice. And now coming towards a couple of last questions that I would like to ask you. What would you suggest the aspiring businessmen, or people who want to get into entrepreneurship or are studying entrepreneurship? What would be your advice to such young entrepreneurs, which you think someone would have told you your journey would have been a lot more easier?
I think people did tell me, but I didn't choose to believe them. Was the fact that it is really tough, and it is a long journey, and it has a fair share of roller coasters. It's not a sprint, it is a marathon. You have to be at it. So persistence is one of the most important key characteristic or trait that an entrepreneur needs more than anything. You can have a great IQ, good business acumen, experience, etc. But if persistence scores over all of these, I think the other piece of advice would be to execute. I think get down, act, execute, get on the ground, focus more on action. So you should always be action oriented as an entrepreneur. So I think these are the two things that I would advise for any budding entrepreneurs.
So in your journey, was there a time where you were taken aback, or you felt that this is something that maybe it's not working out for me? And did you consider, was there a briefest of moment that would have existed back then?
I mean, you always have this at the back of your mind that the doubt whether it's going to work. But we were always very confident that this is going to work. But having said that, there were thousands of times every single week where you have a very big high and you have a very big low. So that is something over a period of time that I've tried to understand and manage. So yeah, you always, but at no point there was any doubt.
Okay.
What we're trying to build is going to take some time and it's going to stand. But there were always those moments where you thought that this is super tough, and you have to persevere through it.
That's nice. And what's coming up next? What's the future plans when you look at Go Desi? What is it aiming for now?
we're aiming to expand our category. We want to be the single brand that comes to your mind when you think of anything chatpata and anything sweet, which is available on the cash counter, which is available in Pulse. So whether it is a barfi or a laddu, or whether it is a lollipop, chatpata lollipop, Go DESi should be the number one brand. So we're working on multiple product lines and product formats over the next few months, and you will see quite a lot of action from Go DESi in the market.
And just one follow-up question, it just appeared to me that when we talk about competition, now that you were saying that it has to be the first name that pops up your mind when we talk about these snackers or toffees or candies. Initially, I remember in your pitch you mentioned that these established brands, they were not a part of the competition. It was the regional business that was the main competitor. So has that statement changed now, or is it somewhere down the line still the same?
I think somewhere it is, you're trying to actually get share from consumers who are buying unorganized, regional, non-branded stuff to what we currently have. So our competition still remains mostly regional brands and local products, and not so somebody who's trying to have a dark chocolate is very unlikely going to be shift to a chicky.
Yes.
At the same time, right?
Correct,
The
correct.
same consumer will have chicky, but when you want to have a chocolate, you want to have a chocolate.
Not as a substitute,
Yeah,
yes.
you can't substitute
Yes.
that. So that's the difference.
Okay, so I think that answers all my questions. One thing that you would like to tell all our viewers, maybe a piece of advice or a suggestion or anything that you'd like to share to them.
I think I already mentioned, just be at it, just be persistent, and just I think a lot of people keep talking about compounding, and believe me, compounding actually works. Just become better 1% every day, and that's going to lead to a very large outcome for you in whatever you're trying to do.
That's correct. So now to all our viewers, as Mr. Vinay rightly said, be on your own path and do not divert just because you think it's getting a little challenging. Stick to the reason why you started it, and that's going to take you to the success that you always dreamt of. I'm Palak Bansal, your host, and I thank you so much for watching with us today, and I hope you have all made notes. I'm signing off, and I promise you to be back with another exciting episode of IRE Talks Podcast powered by GIBS Business School. To get in touch with us, to connect with us, and to become a part of IRE Talks community, I request you to please go like, share, comment, follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any social media that you can find us. This is IRE Talks, where innovation meets inspiration. Thank you.